Welcome to episode number 332, where I'm speaking with my client, Carolann, who has just completed the Reset, Restore, Renew program, which includes a 90-minute consultation with me, the Digestive Reset Cleanse, and my 28-day daily habits for a holistic health program. And she shares her experience on this program. So please stay tuned. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. This episode is sponsored by Kerala Ayurveda. If you have a passion for Ayurvedic herbs and products, you'll appreciate the depth and richness of the Vedic methods used in their preparation. Kerala Ayurveda upholds these traditional practices, leveraging over 75 years of experience in apothecary and spanning 6 generations of healers. Each herb and formula is prepared following ancient traditions, respecting the plant's journey from growth to harvest to its ultimate transformation into supplements. To experience the power of traditional Ayurvedic herbs, visit keralaayurveda.store and use the code ELEMENTS10KA for 10% discount on your first order. You'll find that link in the show notes. Hello and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Carolann, who has been a client of mine, and she's very kindly agreed to come on and share her Ayurvedic experience. Carolann, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Colette, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. I love these episodes, and so do listeners as well. So, Carolann, let's start by introducing yourself, please.
Sure. So I live in central Scotland in the UK. I work from home as a project manager, so life is very focused on work. As you can imagine, it's a fast-paced environment, long hours, lots of stress. But I do try to keep that balanced. Out with work, I spend lots of time outdoor walking with my dog. I have a 6-year-old boxer named Bruce.
Oh.
So I spend a lot of time walking with him and going on some adventures, maybe further north when the weather's a bit better.
So you're from a beautiful part of the world up in Scotland. And we connected, was in December. We connected, right? And how did you, well, first of all, let's start with, how did you discover Ayurveda?
So over the last year or so, I really started to feel the pressures of life getting on top of me. I felt it from all angles. No area went untouched, and I could feel my anxiety really getting really high. It was climbing by the day. It was impacting my sleep. I was relying on caffeine. I was comfort eating and binging on sugar. I had my psoriasis was flaring up, and I was also, my mind was racing a million miles an hour, and that was accompanied by brain fog and low concentration levels and high irritability. I've always been a great believer in self-help, and so I knew I had the power within me to heal myself. I didn't know how. So I did take it upon myself to start doing some research. I started learning some new psychological techniques to try and get on top of it, and that did really help a lot. But there was a feeling that something wasn't there, something was missing. So I kept going with my research, tried to connect all the dots to find a better solution, and that's when I started listening to podcasts. Initially, it was with authors of some of the books that I had been researching, and I found that a really good distraction for my dog walks as well, because that was a good way to break free of the rumination.
Right.
And I had read and listened to a lot about the mind-gut connection, which I found hugely insightful, because we've got a huge neural network in our gut, which essentially means that our gut is part of our mind. And during one of the episodes, the person being interviewed had mentioned that the turning point in their life was the discovery of Ayurveda. And I had never heard of Ayurveda before, so I immediately thought I have to find out what that is. So I started to look it up. I was captivated quite quickly. And when I started listening to your podcast, I very quickly fell down the rabbit hole. I was listening for a few months before I reached out because my gut was telling me this is it. Yeah. But I wanted to be sure because knowing me, I would want to go the whole hog.
Right.
And as you know, I signed up for the full program. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you contacted me in December 2023, and it started with a 15-minute call where you had some questions about my programs and so on, right?
Yeah. So I was very much interested in the Reset, Restore, Renew program. So I just wanted to ask some questions about that before signing up. And the call went well. I think I signed up almost immediately.
Yes, you did.
I was eager to get started. Then we had our consultation in January.
That's right.
For the Christmas period. So that was very insightful. We discovered that my constitution was Vata Pitta and what my imbalances were. And I believe I started week 1 of the cleanse that very same day.
That's correct. Yeah, you were like, I want to get this started. Let's do it. And yeah, so tell us, you're doing the whole program. So for the people who are new to my services, the Reset, Restore, Renew program involves all my services. So it starts with a 90-minute consultation, go through the Digestive Reset Cleanse. There's a 30-minute check-in. Then you go through the Daily Habits for Holistic Health program, that 28-day program. And then at the end of that program, there is a 60-minute follow-up call. So let's talk a little bit about the initial 90-minute consultation where we chatted for an hour all about what's going on currently with your health and then set you up for the cleanse.
Yeah, so that was really insightful. We went through the dosha quiz and verified what I suspected was my constitution, Vata Pitta. And then we went through the Vikriti form, identified all the imbalances, and it really made so much sense. So we knew where to focus on for tailoring the cleanse week specifically to my needs, which was great. Yeah, we talked about caffeine and how it wasn't my friend, so I had to work on eliminating that. And also that you suspected it was inhibiting my appetite, which right. I found very interesting because I didn't tend to have breakfast before 9-10 o'clock in the morning. So I was intrigued to see if that would resurface. The consultation was the first stepping stone to take me into cleanse week, and it was very, very helpful.
Yeah. And I remember as well, obviously you mentioned already that your work is extremely stressful. And so we couldn't change that, but we definitely were bringing in some lifestyle tips for you as well and really tailoring things to your day. You work from home. So we had to make sure that, we were bringing in some calming practices, mindfulness practices, self-care practices, time in nature, which you already had with your dog, Bruce, but making sure that was a big part of the cleanse as well for you, along with obviously the recipes tailored to you and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was really, really helpful. I did start doing that almost straight away and found the benefit. I loved the suggestion of the weighted blanket. That really helped with the sleep interruption. That gets used every single day now without fail. So it's part of the fabric now, and it will be staying.
That's great. So just to explain for people, the weighted blankets that we see them on offer today, but they're really good for calming the nervous system. So I was suggesting it to Carolann in the evening after work, or even, folding it up in our lap when she's in work, and then at bed at night. So I'm glad you're getting good use out of that investment.
Yeah, it's been great. We suggested doing the Abhyanga before bed in particular, because that would also help with sleep, and that's been fantastic. I really have benefited from that, and again, that will be a permanent fixture, I think, going forward.
And how was the cleanse experience for you itself when you moved into week 2?
The cleanse itself was it was a journey, I would say. One of the first things I noticed was the huge spike in my appetite when I started drinking the CCFT. I was ravenous, which I was very surprised at, because I don't think I've experienced that since I was a child. So I was very much looking forward to my ghee balls every morning. I was having less sugar cravings because the food was, obviously the fat content was higher than what I was used to. So it was really satiating. And we had discussed about how I shouldn't go hungry because that would be aggravating for Vata. So there was plenty of food for me to have. I really enjoyed the food on the cleanse. We didn't need to change much of what your suggestions were. I think the only thing we tweaked was the dinner, because I was struggling to stay full for longer with just soup. So we tweaked that slightly.
Yeah, that's right. Because when we met, you had a real lack of a morning appetite and there was a real irregularity in your digestive system, right? There was some days you wouldn't be hungry, and some days you just couldn't fill yourself. So we wanted, obviously it was Agni Vishma, so it was irregular digestive fire. So we really wanted to work on making sure your digestive fire was even, so your energy was even, and that your 24-hour circadian rhythm in regards to all the systems in your body, your energy, your digestion, your elimination was more regular. Because there was a lot of irregularity going on. So, And you were doing great. I know you were very focused and very determined in the cleanse and really disciplined about your practices, which really helped, which was wonderful. Was there anything else you wanted to share in regards to the cleanse?
I did start to notice increased in energy levels. I think they peaked halfway through and then started to dip again as I was getting closer to elimination day. And I did also start to notice an increase in my mental clarity, with a lightness in my mind and body. I started to feel a bit more like my old self, which was really a really positive reinforcement for me that I was doing the right thing and I was on the right path. Yeah, I think the lightness definitely made me realise that I was completely purging everything physically, emotionally. I also had my menstrual cycle which started on day one of the cleanse, so it really was a full body and mind purge. And it was very, very enlightening.
Yeah. And I love then when we did that 30-minute check-in post-cleanse, I like to go through the Vikriti form again and start looking because we can forget things, right? And as we're going through these experiences, sometimes we can forget the impact it has had. And we're going through, the concerns and issues you were having beforehand and how you were like, that's settled. That's, no problem anymore. But the big thing was the regularity in your digestion, elimination in the system in general, and making sure that you had that regular eating pattern and particularly calming the nervous system so that you were getting good sleep. Because as you said, between work stress and a lot of other stresses going on, that you were really feeling just on edge, and it was just calming the whole system really, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely felt that. I felt everything just settle and definitely felt more grounded. I think grounded is absolutely the right word for it.
I'm going to jump in here because if you're interested in doing your own digestive reset cleanse, well, I have my next group cleanse, the spring cleanse, coming up April 19th. This is a group cleanse. However, it comes with a 90-minute online consultation with me so that I can tailor the cleanse, the recipes, the mindfulness, the self-care to you and your lifestyle. And then we go through the cleanse in a group format where we have a private community and we'll give each other support and lots of accountability there. This is a holistic cleanse. And so it's a really great opportunity to physically, mentally, emotionally cleanse any toxins from your body and feel light and clear and energetic going into spring season. Now, if that group date of April 19th does not work for your schedule, then check out my private cleanse. The private cleanse is the same structure, but it means that you get to choose dates that work for your calendar and you have me one-on-one for support. I'll put the link in the show notes, or you could just go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And for the group event, go to the events page. And for the private cleanse, go to the programs page. And I hope to connect with you very soon. Okay, let's go back to my conversation with Carolann. And then you moved into the educational portion. So then you moved on to the daily habits, which was, so during the cleanse, we were in touch nearly daily during the cleanse, weren't we? Just me checking in on you and stuff and answering any questions you had. And then we had the 30-minute check-in, and then you went on to the daily habits, which was the 28-day self-paced program. That was kind of just reinforcing the habits and more education about what was happening during the cleanse, reinforcing the good habits, making sure that they were going on autopilot now, and also talking about the mind, the mental Vikriti, a lot more looking at mindfulness and also how to become your own healer by looking at the principle of opposites and all that. So how did you find that program?
That was excellent. It was the perfect follow-on to the cleanse, I felt. It really helped to enhance the understanding of the Ayurvedic principles that we were applying during the cleanse. And it was really interesting to learn about the gunas and how they manifest within each dosha, which really helped to deepen my understanding of my constitution and my tendencies and why I am the way I am. And I think that's really important because I think that aids self-acceptance.
Exactly.
So for me, there was a big spiritual element to it for sure. I felt like learning about the meditation and the pranayama and the connection with nature and intuition were probably my favourite parts. There was a few things that you said during the recordings that really stuck with me. The first of which was listen to your body, it's smarter than you are. Which was a real eye-opening moment and such a reminder of the innate intelligence that we have and how wonderful the body and the mind are. And that shouldn't be lost sight of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a big purpose in this program and between the Daily Habits course is to really empower people to listen to their inner knowing. And we all have that, but we just need to be empowered. And, I love that you said self-acceptance too, because this is why I wish Ayurveda was taught to kids in school, is just accepting your constitution. And then, this self-realization of Ayurveda is this accepting your constitution and realizing its gifts and working with those gifts rather than being something that you're not. Striving for something that you're not and you're going against your unique constitution. So it's really about empowering people. And that's my goal, is to really help you feel empowered and confident to make your own decisions going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt that support from you throughout the entire experience. So that was a massive help because it is a big journey to embark on.
It is.
It can be daunting, especially someone who's so new to it. I did kind of start off fast because I just knew. So it was definitely a huge support.
Yeah, it's really important for me to provide a lot of support. And as soon as I get emails, I'm right on it, answering questions, because I know how it can be challenging, but I also want people to have the full experience. So I'm always there, answer questions, cheerleader, all that.
And then the other thing that really stuck out for me was when you probably remember this because I think it's quite significant, is when you quoted Einstein you said the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant.
I got goosebumps when you said that now again.
It gave me goosebumps when I read it. And then the society we've created honours the servant and has forgotten the gift.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because we do seem to have fostered an approach in life where ration and logic is favoured, and we've almost kind of started to ignore our intuition.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's this going back to our true nature and discovering our true selves and being guided by that. That's the real truth of us. Yeah.
So it was really excellent. I really enjoyed the 28-day program in addition to the cleanse.
Great. And then, at the end, then we did the follow-up consultation. It was really talking about, okay, now going forward, was checking in the Vikriti where you are now, which was looking really good. And then talking about going forward. And how do you feel now that you've completed the program? You've gone through it all. How are you feeling now in regards to your health, physically, mentally, and in regards how you feel about moving forward yourself?
Yeah, I feel like I have benefited so much from it. It really was, it really did help with like I said, the understanding of my constitution, what my imbalances will look like, so I know what to look out for going forward now in terms of my subtle signs. And I feel like it's really empowered me to take accountability of looking after my body and my health. So I feel like that's been a huge benefit. It's also allowed me to change my mentality to eating slightly. So I now eat with the aim to nourish instead of for comfort, which is what I would have done before. I feel like it's taught me to, or I'm learning to, not talk because I'm not good at it yet, to slow down and to listen. Whereas before I would have been a million miles an hour, mentally, physically. I was always multitasking. I would never just sit still. So that's something that I'm working on as a result. And the Dinacharya, in particular, the oil massage, I feel like that's become so much more than just a daily practice. It's become more acts of self-love.
I love that. And it is an act of self-love, but there's those little reminders, and especially when you're just so busy during the day, there's those reminders in the evening, particularly for someone who's having trouble sleeping, calming the nervous system and pouring into yourself at the end of a day where you have just been managing everyone else and in an environment that's on all the time. So it's really great. So has the way now you live your life shifted?
Yeah, I feel like I'm much more attentive to my actions, my thinking and my eating. And I plan to continue that going forward because I do feel so much better in myself from completing the programme. I feel like I'm back on the path to being who I should be.
Right.
But yeah, with it, keeping in mind the balance as well, like you keep reminding me not to be so rigid, to have that flexibility, the 80-20.
Yes.
But that's my plan going forward.
Yeah, and that's great. I think that is important because when we find something like this, we can really hold on too tight sometimes. And it is important to let loose a little sometimes, so that it can be a lifestyle going forward rather than something just for a period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Wonderful. And so is there anything else you want to share with us, Carolann, that I haven't covered or asked?
I think I just wanted to share that it's been a bit more than a lifestyle change. It's been a bit of a journey of self-discovery, which I know sounds a bit like a cliche, but I absolutely feel like it's true. I feel like when we understand ourselves, it brings acceptance, self-compassion and self-love. And so for anyone who's contemplating or about to embark on maybe an Ayurvedic journey, I would say to be open, just to accept whatever comes up, because it can only lead to you understanding yourself better. And I feel like that empowers people to take their health and well-being into their own hands. So I strongly encourage anyone who likes the idea of going forward with it to do so.
Great. Well, beautifully said. And it is a journey of self-discovery. And it's one of the best journeys, as I say, we can take because it really is tuning inward and, looking then forward at, okay, what do I want in my life? And this is the start of the journey. You bring yourself into balance. And now you've so much more awareness of things that you might need to shift and changes that you might need to make and truly where your passions lie. And what's serving you and what's not serving you. So I always think this is the start of the journey. And then there's the peeling back as life moves forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Great. Well, Carolann, I truly appreciate you coming on today and chatting with us and sharing your story. It really means a lot. It has been an absolute pleasure to guide and support you through this journey. And I wish you all the best. And I look forward to seeing what your future holds.
Thank you, Colette. And likewise, it really has been a pleasure and an honour.
Oh, thank you, Carolann. And take good care of yourself.
Thanks, you too.
Bye for now.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Carolann. And thanks again to Carolann for coming on the podcast and sharing her experience on my Reset, Restore, Renew program. And if you're interested in checking out my online services, then please visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Don't forget, I have that upcoming Digestive Reset Cleanse. This is a group cleanse starting April 19th. And you will find all that information on the events page of my website. And if you wish to do a private cleanse and choose your own dates, then you can check that out under the programs page. And if you have any questions on my services before you book, then take advantage of my free 15-minute Services Enquiry Call. We can hop on Zoom and I can answer all of your questions. If you haven't already subscribed or follow the podcast, please do so, and the new episodes will automatically download for you. And if you would like to leave a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast, I would really appreciate that and would help others to find the show and this amazing wisdom of Ayurveda. You can find me on social media under Elements Healing and Wellbeing on Facebook, and my new Instagram page is Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.